Oh, wow. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Soul View. I am so excited that you are joining us here today. And my co-hosts, of course, are Lorelei Robinson, Shivany. And they are, they're two amazing women. And I'm so excited that you all have the opportunity to be with us, because what we're doing is we are covering things that are in the news that are making the headlines right now, and then looking at them from a soul view. And I think this is so important. One thing that just happened today, ladies, that I think was really interesting, somebody was upset because we were talking about fake news and that we put Sinclair in there, and we'll talk about the Sinclair broadcasting earlier. We are not here to dog them. That is not what it is. That's the reason that it's back in the news, is because of what just happened with them. And we'll talk about that a little later. But we're not here to put anybody down. We are only here to say that's what brought it back in the news. And so that's why we are talking about it today.
It could have anybody's name on it.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. We are trying to be very careful here to not put our own personal views, whatever they are, on this earth plane, but to actually have a broader view for everyone. And again, look at it from a soul's point of view. That's what this is all about.
Well, I thought of you today, Cindy, because I don't even remember what it was, but it was something on the internet. It said breaking news. I went, yes.
And that's what this is. It's breaking news, things that people are talking about. But once again, we want to do it from a different perspective altogether. Otherwise, we're just repeating what everybody else is saying. We already have that in droves.
Yeah. Boring.
Yeah. They're boring, or just boring. Come on already. Enough's enough. We want something different. So here we are.
We need something to sink our Scorpio teeth into. Oh.
That's exactly right. And you know this world is in such a big transformation. We've talked about that before. It's a metamorphosis, and a metamorphosis gets pretty messy in there. Mm-hmm. But when there's disorder on earth, there's order in heaven, and we are here to make that heaven and earth connection. Right, ladies?
I love that. Every time you say it, I think I'm hearing it for the first time.
Yep.
I do.
Well, the hot topics, again, with what we said before, fake news, fake news, fake news. It's back in the news. And we want to talk today about how it spreads, why it spreads, and how to spot it and discern the truth for yourself. And again, we're not going to talk about what's fake and what's not fake. We're going to just talk about how and the importance of it for a lot of people, why they buy into things, and you're going, what? But for you, it's a truth. For somebody else, it's not. We're not here to judge that. We're here to just talk about the importance of it and how to spot it. And we also have a segment that we are now going to call Q&Q. It's questions and quotes from our listeners. So if you have questions, make sure you put it in the Q&A box. I'm going to be looking at Facebook. So if you are joining us on Facebook, go ahead and put the questions or comments in there. We will get to those. And also, please subscribe on our YouTube channel. That will also be posted below here. If you're on Facebook, we'll post our YouTube channel, and we really would love for you to subscribe. And if you like what we talk about, just hit that like your video button, and it brings us up to the top and gets the word out. So we really want other people to join in on this beautiful journey. So right now, before we get to our questions and quotes, or quotes and questions, we're going to have the astrological weather. What is going on, Lorelei?
The state of the universe is what I call it, right? Well, so here's the state of the universe, in that we're all having this opportunity now until April 15th, so this is still timely for a couple of weeks, of being able to, it's really interesting in terms of what's going on, find your voice. The planet Mercury, which is the planet of communication, which appears to go backwards, if you will, 3 times a year is a wonderful opportunity, number one, to all the words, re-examine your, how you speak, how you talk to yourself. Mercury is in the most aggressive sign in the zodiac. So talk about an opportunity to really get clear about the words that you use, how courageously are you speaking who you are? Are you brave? These are all Aries. Are you speaking in a way that is being true to yourself? And what's so fascinating is because the universe is always cooperating with what we most have to learn. So the 3 Mercury retrogrades this year, Mercury retrogrades 3 times a year, every 4 months, and each of the retrogrades are in fire signs. This is Aries and then the other 2. So that's very interesting because fire is male energy. I mean, fire is assertive, aggressive, dynamic, passionate. So this Mercury retrograde in Aries, you could find yourself re-examining, as I said, the words that you use, whether they are self-empowering or not, and really coming back to it's an inside job and it starts here because that's very Aries. And it's so interesting. We're going to be talking about fake news, in other words, the manipulation of anything, in this case, information, because Jupiter, not because planet's not doing it to us, it's giving us the opportunity to look at what's true for us and to go to deeper levels of whatever that means. It doesn't get deeper and more intense than Scorpio energy in terms of, okay, let's just excise the wound, let's address what's there, and let's rebuild, let's regenerate. So there's tremendous opportunity for intimacy with self and with others by really honestly owning all the stuff, and especially the dark and the shadow side. So wouldn't that make sense that we're going to see the dark and the shadow side coming and going in all kinds of ways? So Mercury retrograde, Jupiter and Scorpio. One other thing, and we're in this now, in that here's an opportunity with the planet of what drives us, Mars, now in Capricorn. You should feel really energized, Shivany, because Mars is how we do things, and Mars is very comfortable in Capricorn. Certain planets are not at home in certain signs. It doesn't mean it doesn't work, but Mars loves being in Capricorn. Take a step up the mountain, secure the footing, take another step. But what's added to that, which just starts a new 2-year cycle for all of us, is that Mars now is what we call conjunct, I say dancing cheek to cheek, with Saturn, with the planet of reality, structure, discipline, responsibility. So here's the thing, whatever it is that any of us want to create, there's a container now that supports us really being able to put feet under the dream and to be able to take our desires and give them legs, give them a container. But it could also feel right now like I'm running ahead, but I got the brakes on. I'm running ahead because I got the brakes on. So it's just choosing to move, do, speak, think, everything slower. Slower. So we get the gifts of all of this, what somebody says, you take it in and you go, oh, that was so profound. You were just talking, Cindy, about you were revisiting your information, and that's a wonderful Mercury retrograde. You'll find yourself being attracted to things you've read before, you've spoken before. Again, it's beautiful. I call it spirituality 101 too. It's kind of like, oh, I knew that, but you just get it at a deeper level where it makes sense. So this is a very exciting time. I mean, we got planets in Aries, so it's time to have the courage to be and do who we are, but now with much greater patience, which is not an Aries trait, and knowing that we can put the steps. It's what we're doing here. It's what we're doing with the Soul View. I mean, that's what's so exciting for me too. We're doing this.
Well, I love it. And what you were talking about is auras. I was talking about auras last week, and my favorite book on that, I went back and I've started reading again. And I thought even that I might do a special video for everyone because I had tons of questions about that. And while we're not going to get into that on this show today, I decided that would be a special little thing that I could do, just a quick video for everybody to tell you a little bit about the information. So I thought before I do that, I'll reread. That's that read word.
Yeah.
I will reread my favorite books on that and do a little research. And because, everybody's a little different, they can see things a little differently. So you'll hear different reportings on things. And so that's what I'm doing. Excellent.
I love it.
Excellent. Well, I'd like to bring on Shivany now, and she's going to be talking about the Q&Q. She's going to be getting the quotes, some of the quotes from y'all from this last week. And again, put your comments below. If you like what we're doing, if there's another direction you need us to go in, we're here for you. We're here to be of service. This is a voluntary thing for all three of us. Right now, we are trying to be the change that we want to see in the world. That's why we are doing this and why it's such a mission for us. So please let us know if you like what we're doing, what you'd like to see more of, and always remember, comment from the heart. Shivany?
Yeah.
Some of the quotes.
Okay, I'm just going to read this for us. So we have Shirley. Thank you so very much for all that you do each and every day for this planet and all of us. May your light continue to shine brighter, in capitals, today and forever. Lots of love to you all in light and love. And we have Marsha. I appreciate the perspective you all took in not making this a ban guns conversation, but a conversation about what it means from a spiritual perspective and the importance of all of us asking ourselves where we are willing to be warriors and speak up and out. So that was back then when we talked about guns. Maureen from Ohio, I just wanted to thank all of you for offering this safe space to discuss the many significant events going on in our world recently. Listening to the three of you and your unique perspectives offers the opportunity to shift from the nonsense being spoken by the few, but the loud. It's important to reinforce our discernment filters. That's what we're talking about today. In order for us to navigate this time. So thanks to each of you and blessings be upon you. Thank you so much, Maureen. Blessings to you. And the other thing is several people were upset because we said that Trump is an empath. How can you have such a bad character and be an empath as well?
Well, again, that depends on who you're talking to, because some people may not think that he's a bad character, and some people think he's great. Being an empath, while some people think that it's only for the people who are enlightened, not necessarily. Empath and enlightenment don't go hand in hand. It is a gift that every single person has the opportunity to use as a gift. And for those people who don't understand what it is, it can be misused very, very easily. Now, a couple things that I want to talk about with the empath is how you know that Trump is an empath. Number one, the way he commands an audience and can go in the direction that they want him to go. He knows what to say to get people going. That's huge. That's a big one right there, knowing that he's an empath. Another one is, you hear all the time, he changes his mind based on the last person he talked to. Of course he did. How many of us that are empath, that happens to us where we pick up on energy?
Totally.
I go into the grocery store. I don't know if this happens to you ladies. I go into the grocery store, and if there's somebody around with a craving, all of a sudden I'm craving something I haven't thought of in years. And I'm like, where did that come from? And then I have to send back their energy. I have to remember, this isn't mine. This belongs to somebody else.
You're such a Pisces. They have a craving. It's my craving.
And I just pick up on stuff because I'm very sensitive. But I can also send that energy back to that other person and then put a shield around me. And so it doesn't come, so I don't get that energy. And for Trump, the challenge for him is he doesn't know to shield himself from that stuff. He doesn't know that. And it can cause a lot of confusion for you. So please know that if you're an empath, I know many people that actually isolate themselves. because they are so sensitive. They say they can't even go in public. So it can cause a lot of stuff in your life. Just know that. So I just wanted to clarify that real quick. Is there anything that you two want to add to that?
I would just like to add something. You and I talked about this offline, Cindy, this week sometime. I don't remember when, but when we talk about empath, we're talking about water, the element of water, fire, earth, air, water. We're all made up of those 4 elements in varying to varying degrees. So anybody that's an empath has water in their chart. Otherwise, they wouldn't be empathetic. They wouldn't be an empath.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while Trump is an air sign, Gemini, with a fire moon, Sagittarius, he's in his lunar return right now. I bet he's having his period right as we speak. I wouldn't be surprised. But he has like 3 of his planets, of his characters in Cancer. Well, Cancer's water. So what you just said, Cindy, about he reads the audience and he knows what to say, he comes by that very honestly. That's not a deceptive trait. That is something that's very natural. So I just wanted to add my piece of he's got water energy. So it's not a judgment whether he's empathetic or empath or not. You know, it's not a this is good, this is bad. So I appreciate the person who wrote that in.
I do too, because it really did need clarification. And we had talked about this, ladies, where we said, we want this to come up. I hope somebody will bring it up. And we wanted you to think about it. So, you know, this is a ebb and flow here. This is a give and take. It's not just about us. It's about all of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think the big point really is, as you said already, that we all have gifts, right? And we have free will, we can choose how we use it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we can use anything for the good or not so good.
Yeah,
that's it. And, you know, as we were saying, you know, earlier, think of all the writers in the world. There are writers out there that write love stories and other write murder mysteries. Who's wrong? Nobody. There's an audience for all of it. And we get to choose. We get to make those choices ourselves. So the same with our gifts. We can use it for good or not so good. You know, it's all up to us. It's not a good and bad issue, in my opinion. I think that there are some people that might think that it's just a higher vibrational skill, but I don't see it that way. We put the vibration in it.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely true. When you said he doesn't even know, and that's absolutely, I would totally agree with that. That so resonates for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm. And we just have a comment from Marielle. Hello, Marielle.
Hi, Marielle.
She said, I don't watch news, so this is the kind of point of view about real news that I can appreciate. Bravo, ladies.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, yay. Well, another question that we had, or comment, and it actually was an extension of one of the comments that you wrote, and several other people. I think it was it Maureen? I'm not sure if that's who it was or not. But anyways, the question that came in was about, you know, guns, that there are more drugs, or the people that created the shootings or did the shootings were on drugs. And actually that's not true. We did some research and there is no evidence one way or the other. In fact, and I hope that I say this name properly. One thing we know that they were on for sure was dihydrogen monoxide. And it causes more deaths than anything else out there. And for those of you who know your science, that is H2O. That is water. And more people die from water, like drownings or people that are dehydrated, than anything else. But they said they know for sure he was drinking H2O. Other than that, they don't know one way or another, or any of these people that created the crime. So for people that I asked about that, Ferris did a lot of research. We found no evidence that was true, that he was on any kind of, and prescription drugs is what they were really talking about. And so we didn't find any evidence of that. Again, we want to invite your questions. As you can see, we're going to answer the questions the best that we can. And now I think that it's time for us to start talking about the topic that everybody's come here for, and that is the hot topic in the news, which is fake news. You see it everywhere you go. My gosh. You know what's fake news? Fake news is looking at a cookie and saying, if no one sees me eat it, there's no calories. That's fake news. We can fool ourselves in all kinds of ways, but there are certain things out there that, and we know it when we do it, right? Everybody, we know what fake news is. And so I just want to talk about, what created this week. Sinclair Broadcasting, and I'm going to look at my notes here. They're one of the largest owners of television stations in the United States. They currently own and operate 173. It's going to go higher because they're actually buying out another company. Some of their affiliates are ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox. And there are numerous other specialty type channels that they own. And it was brought up because they had all of their people actually read exactly the same script based on what they felt they wanted their audience to know. And, coming from a broadcasting point of view, I actually, I'm in broadcasting. That's what I've done all of my life. And we were taught to do your research and come up with a unique message. And this was something I think people were up in arms with, because all of these 173 were asked to say exactly the same thing. That's where the fake news come in. I don't know if it was fake or not. I couldn't tell you that. And that's not the point, right? Whether or not that was true. The point here is that's what brought it back into the news, as we said before. Fake news, and I want to talk about this for a moment, which is, we've talked about this. Fake news is what we use perhaps to manipulate people. And manipulation was one word that we equated with that. So I want to start there and see what you ladies have to say about this. And again, we want to welcome your questions. We thank everybody that's on Facebook with us. I don't know how many people are there. I see, let's see, I'm going to check here. Susan's here. Hi, Susan. And Colleen and Ferris is also watching on Facebook. Yay. And then, of course, everybody here, say hi to each other in the chat. Let me see. We have Carol and Dana and Darcy and Denise. We got a lot of D's. A couple of Denise and Helma. Hi. JF and John, Kim, Linda. Again, there's so many people, I don't want to read everyone, but say hi to each other as we are having this conversation. So let's talk for a moment about using fake news to manipulate.
Well, from my world, in the astrological piece of what I do, it's so perfect that, again, another opportunity, Jupiter and Scorpio retrograde, to have something come up that's been of a manipulative nature, an empowering, a disempowering, a coercive. I mean, again, take your pick. It's like we're the victim and the perpetrator, right? So this is, again, perfect, being manipulated by information. And isn't it interesting? The planet of information, Mercury, is in retrograde. So we're looking at, wow, where are we? And as we talked about, which, where do we have this need to believe whatever it is? So to me, the opportunity here is each individual, each of us gets to decide what our own personal truth is.
Yeah, and also if I take out the negative connotation about the word manipulation, right? In some ways, we are always manipulating each other. Yeah, like you can use manipulation as a word. You can also enrolling as I'm trying to enroll somebody. And we laughed when we discussed it before, like my dog can totally manipulate anyone who has animals, right? You have a cat or a dog. I mean, your animal will try and convince you that it has not been fed for a week. Because so that is manipulation, right? But usually we cotton on, right? We know. And so I think it's an opportunity, right, for us to notice where are we getting manipulated and what are our values and what do we know? Yeah, we somehow throw that out of the window quite often with news.
Well, it's, number one, manipulation is actually a survival skill. Mm-hmm. Of course we want to manipulate your children. You tell them no and they look at you and say, I can see you're undecided. And they will keep bugging you until they get a yes. And it is our nature to, of course we want to win somebody over to our point of view. That is part of our nature. Discernment is the next word. We have to discern and even discern and decide. Because sometimes it's okay. I know my granddaughter's manipulating me and I just laugh. Gary and I will laugh. We know exactly what she's doing and you know what? We love it. When my cat earlier was manipulating me to feed him yet again, even though I know he ate everybody else's food too, I knew he was doing it. So I made him feel really special. And I actually put his food up on the countertop, in a little plate, a nice little separate plate from everybody else's. So he felt special for a little bit. Then he was content. What he really wanted was attention. So, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and we don't have to make it wrong, right? Like, because really everyone manipulates everyone else. It's part and parcel of being human.
Mm-hmm. And this is where discernment comes in, because if we know that we're being manipulated not to our highest and best good, it's up to us to discern that is happening and decide what to do about it at that point. But my truth may not be your truth. So that's part of the discernment, don't you think?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
I was just looking up the definition of manipulate: to manage or utilize skillfully, not a bad definition, to control or play upon by artful, unfair, or insidious means, especially to one's own advantage. So again, many different interpretations of manipulate. We manipulate with our hands, right? I mean, in other words, you manipulate something in terms of whatever, manipulating something. So it's taken on such a pejorative, obviously, because it's about then becomes control. But, it's sort of like, well, if we know, again, that's why we're talking about it, because this whole fake news thing is such a perfect opportunity for everybody to, again, discern their own truth, whatever that is.
Well, some questions, there's some very important questions to ask around the whole fake news thing. But before I talk about that, I really want to talk about how it spreads on the World Wide Web, because that is the big thing right now. There's so much misinformation out there, and we really have to discern what is accurate and what is not. And there was a wonderful video, and I've got to try and find it again. I clicked away from it and then I couldn't find it again. But it was a split screen, and on one side of the screen, it said something about Muslims don't like Christmas lights in Sweden. And this guy looks at that and goes, "Oh, really?" And he starts doing some research to find out if that's true. On the other side, there were people that saw that Muslims don't like Christmas lights in Sweden. And people went, "Really?" Oh, and you could hear them going, "Oh, I can't believe it." And they started clicking and forwarding it. And all of a sudden, it went up to like 10,000 people got it within just an hour of that being posted, while the other guy looked it up to find out there's nothing even in the news about it. It was completely made up, but it was forwarded really fast. And so people are not discerning what it is that they're forwarding before they forward it.
Well, and one of those things that we've been doing this research, the whole clickbaiting, right? Clickbaiting. Right. Yeah. We were baiting you to click so that advertisement gets seen. I mean, it is pretty insidious. Again, so good that again, it's coming up to be healed and whatever that is for anyone. But again, to me, all these people that are involved in whatever this is have sort of stepped up as part of this contract to bring this forward.
You're more likely to believe the fake news if that fits in with your worldview and your beliefs and your values, right? Because that is part of you, so why would you question it?
Right.
Yeah.
If it's something that, if there's something about somebody that I don't like, and I say, I don't like that person, well, then I have to step back and say, do I not like that person, or do I not like certain things about that person? And what specifically is it? And what hot buttons, this is one of the questions, what hot buttons does it create for me? So, it's not an all-encompassing thing. And I think that that's where a lot of people get themselves in trouble. It's not about everything is negative. It's just about being led down that rabbit hole that we don't like.
Yeah.
There might be something in that rabbit hole that actually is truth,
And I think the other thing, when we said, okay, if we agree that we all get manipulated and we are manipulating, then I can also look at, does it, whatever I read or see, does that create fear within me? Mm-hmm. Because that would be a really good compass. Right? Well, it would be a good compass for me because I want to really come from love. So if I get manipulated by going into fear because of that news, then for me that is a red flag. And I can examine myself, yeah?
Right. Fear or anger. And anger it's a visceral response. There's, it's immediate. It's, oh my gosh. And then we act on that visceral response. And under that visceral response of anger, there's something else.
Well, that's just it. It's a response to the fear that we're feeling. Right. Is the anger.
It can, very, very often it's fear. Very often it's fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the questions to ask yourself, what is my need to believe this? When we find ourselves wanting to forward it, before you forward something, ask yourself, what's my need to believe this?
Yeah.
Can I choose to believe something bigger than this?
Or who would I be without that belief?
Excellent. 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 Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Do we want to believe this, even if we know it's not true?
Well, there would be the drama thing again.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that would be some need for drama. Let me get all hyped up with this and let me forward it on. So that's where, again, the self-responsibility comes in.
Let me see. There was another one that I just had. You see, we want to believe, well, sometimes we do love drama. There are people that, I said this before, we have this stress response and we get addicted to the stress hormones that go coursing through our bodies. So we try to create some of that drama that fake news creates.
Totally.
Yeah. And it makes us feel alive, right? If we have anger coursing through our body, well, we're fired up, Yep.
Yeah.
And, some of the hot button things out there right now would be the conspiracy theories. Now, for me, folks, don't send them to me. I actually was trying very hard for a while to read what everybody was reading because I wanted to really understand folks and where they were coming from and why they might believe some of these things. And I clicked on one of the conspiracy theory links that somebody sent me. All of a sudden, I had all this very, very right-wing targeted stuff coming up, that it nails you for once you click on that. So know that you're going to be targeted. And even though all this stuff has happened to bring awareness to this on Facebook. It's still happening because that just happened to me a few days ago. And I should have taken a screenshot. Normally I have things about angels and soul exploration and, conscious living. That's what I always have. And all of a sudden it was all, don't let them take your gun rights away. I can't remember what else. Vote for Trump 2020. There was something about, Nazi, Nazis even came up. So that link apparently triggered those kind of responses. So that's another way for you to be able to tell if there's something, if you want to be led down that rabbit hole. Some people do, they love it. And some people, like me, I have too much in my brain and I want to stay heart-centered, and that puts me in a place I don't want to be emotionally. What about you?
Well, what I was just coming up for me was I think it gives everybody the opportunity to be emotionally self-responsible. Like if I'm reacting to this, if I'm emoting because of what I'm reading, there is the self-responsibility to say, wait a minute, I got to be the parent here to this part of me that is churning and reeling and emotion, because again, that's the difference between emotions and feelings, right? The emotion is that, that urge that in the moment, can't control it perhaps, but we can. It's like, much like we all have the 2-year-old inside or the 6-month-old,
Mm-hmm.
So if we're looking at a soul view, then the fact that people are being tested in their reactiveness, right? What can we say to get this person to push this button and to react to this? Everybody gets the opportunity to go, wait a minute, before I push the button, let me go inside and see what I'm reacting to. Let me be with what's going on here before I do that. That's what I would say.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. And even, the conversation that we had around this, our own filters that we put on things, our own biases that we might have towards something, and our need for people to believe just like we do. Ferris always says, rule number 1 is I'm number 1. And we always think that we're number 1 and that our opinion, we see the world through our own filters. And that filter may be conscious heart living, that may be, for Lorelei, obviously it would be astrology. And for Shivany, it would be, really positive thinking, how to use your brain power to really move you forward and advance you in your lives. So we have to look at our own filters. What do we value? What's the higher meaning here for us? And do we really want to go down this direction? Go in this direction?
Really, go on, Shivany.
Yeah, I think that's it, because it's psychologically, it's really true. Whatever we believe is true for us. Yeah, nobody, the universe will not challenge you. Whatever you believe, right? Mm-hmm. And then because of that, we will try and find more and more evidence that what we believe is true. And that's it, that's the law of attraction. Well, I believe this, so I'm vibrating within a particular frequency. And so I look, it's like we are, we are, laser focused almost. Well, now I'm looking and seeing and attracting everything that I believe.
Yeah.
And that's the evidence. And so we go deeper and deeper, possibly down the rabbit hole. And then the question again, I would say, is, well, is it beneficial for you to hold on to the belief?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that you're right or wrong, you're always right. But is that helping you in your life? Is it helping you to accomplish whatever? Is it helping you be happy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what an opportunity to re-examine what we believe now with Mercury, especially what Mercury's in Aries, right? What do each person can be saying, what do I believe? Not what does my mate believe? What does my mother believe? What does my whatever? That's where the I becomes very sacred.
And I think that's what's asked of us now, It's actually, I think, I know it sounds probably funny, but I think fake news is fantastic because it gives us the opportunity again, as you said, to come back to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if that's a beautiful way to talk about Mercury retrograde in Aries and I was talking to my best friend who's a Pisces in Florida, Cindy, and that's exactly what we said. What you just said, Shivany. And I said, oh, that's brilliant. Well, you just said it again because I forgot what she and I talked about. But it is the coming back to yourself. So, see, it's so great the way the universe works.
Love it.
It's beautiful. I really remember the very moment that I learned that we attracts like.
Mm.
And it was actually my daughter. And I was still doing commercials at the time, and I was on doing this commercial, and my daughter, she was hired a lot as a young model to be in things, and she was there with me, and my daughter, as some of you know, is a recovering addict. She's, it's up and down, but she's been clean now for 2 years. But she looked at the makeup artist that was doing my makeup, and when she got me alone, she said, Nana, or Mom, she's a drug addict and she's recovering. And I said, how would you know? And she says, takes one to know one. And so she said something, or somebody said something to her, and she started actually talking about it. And I went, oh my gosh, that energy, she understood that energy. And I would never have picked up on anything. In fact, I've known that person for many years. I never knew.
Dang. Wow. A different lens.
Yeah. It's a different
lens.
And
that is like you vibrate a particular way, and then that's why we all have our own views and worldviews, and it's really looking through a particular lens.
Mm-hmm.
But we think we are it and we know it all, and but we're not, because everyone really is their own little universe, depending on their experiences.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We come in alone and we go out alone.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
We can have lots of people who love us and lots of support, but we do it alone, and we go out by ourselves. I mean, with the divine, but again.
Yeah. So that's great example, Cindy, with your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was very telling for me, because I just, that started my conscious opening at that point, because I didn't get that. And I certainly didn't think that you could look at somebody and know. And I thought, what's that all about? Hence the journey begins.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, for those of you who find it really distressing to see this news or not knowing whether they're fake news, I think don't watch it. Yeah. Like, go on a negativity fast. That's another option.
Well, and Abraham talks about don't accept reality unless it's what you want. Right. So, I mean, the point is, if something comes at us, we can decide, do I want to believe this? Again, whether it's true or not. But I mean, I'm faced with this piece of news now, call it fake, call it real. But again, do I discern to believe this or not? Each one of us being the I.
Yeah. And we can all look up to see. Now, I'm somewhat of a researcher because I, have a journalism background. But Ferris is the ultimate. He does all the research for me to look up things, and he will dig until he finds the truth on things. And I really love, and I can't remember the guy's name right now that originally said this. Lorelei, I think I sent you his name to look up, and the name's not coming to me right now. But he actually said, you're entitled to your own beliefs, but you're not entitled to your own facts. So there are facts out there that remain true. The facts are the facts. And what you build around those facts are up to you. That's the discernment. So what you ask yourself before you start saying anything to anyone else about something, what's my need to believe? As we've said before, my need to believe. is this true?
Yeah.
And do I want to spread it anyway because I need for it to be true? How many of us have done that? You know, what is that core need? And we also talked about this the other day, that, you know, that I had someone in my life that that really was a major conspiracy theorist, saying, you know, 9/11 didn't happen. That was, you know, all made up. The Sandy Hook thing was all made up. You know, the shootings, different things like that. And you know, I don't have room for that. There's evidence. I'm a fact-based person. That's my, what is that, Lorelei? Is that, do I have?
That'd be your Virgo, the fact
It
checker.
would be the Virgo? Okay.
Yeah, fact checker. Yeah, your Jupiter's in Virgo for sure. And they're Scorpio. And the two most detail-oriented signs in the zodiac are Virgo and Scorpio, and you've got both.
But the hot button for me, and this is what I had to go back and really look at. Why did that make me hot under the collar when I thought of that person and the conspiracy stuff? It was because I was very shy growing up. I had a hard time ever speaking up for myself. And I was bullied by my sister for a long time. And then I went through a very bad abusive relationship. And I realized my hot button is injustice. And when somebody says these things aren't true, what you are doing is discounting everyone out there that has suffered. And that's the way that I felt. And that's why it became such a hot button for me, and why when they're spreading fake news, because there's evidence everywhere, like that, it's really an injustice to the people who have been hurt by these things.
Mm-hmm. I would say that's your, I mean, that's a Libra quality, what you just spoke, which is your moon.
Really?
The justice of something. I mean, Libra's about justice, you know, it's the scales.
Yeah. And that's it. So, you know, I did a lot of soul searching on that, Lorelei, after you got
Shivany and I weren't beating you up, were we, Shivany?
No, but you were making me look at it.
But you were very scorpionic, you know.
We were definitely 26 degrees of Scorpio, that's for sure. That's an insight.
It probably felt like we were beating you up.
You know, we were sort of all in the Scorpio realm, and just a long story short, we all have Scorpio in our charts. So we were doing a Scorpio moment with Cindy and Shivany and I, where we were just going deep and then coming back up again and then diving deep into the water again. And so it was definitely one of those.
Well, we're just about at the end of our time. I just want to take a moment and Shivany, can you see the questions? I'll see if I can find them on Facebook, see if we have any questions that have come in.
Nothing on Zoom.
Nothing on Zoom?
Yeah, we have Ferris, but we don't need to read that.
Okay. All right. Comments that I say, howdy from Gabriel. I love the three of you when you get together. Peace within. These are some of the Zoom. Hi, everyone. And let's see here. Oh, this is on
Facebook.
Yeah, these are on Facebook. Yeah. I said Zoom and I meant Facebook. So let's see. I see 3 new messages. You said all of them are from Ferris.
Yeah.
So while you count, Ferris, if you're listening, yes, you count, and we love you. If you have any questions, please go ahead and jot them in real quick. If not, then we'll wrap this up. We want to keep this short and sweet for everyone. And, you know, just 45 minutes. That's what we're trying for. If you have questions that come up after we hang up here, something that you want us to dive in a little bit more, then please do. And all you have to do is, if this is on YouTube, just comment below, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, and also hit like if you like the video, if you like the topics that we're talking about. If you have an idea of what you want us to talk about, please put your comments in there, and you see that we are responding to all these things. And I'm back over.
And I love what you say. It's join in the conversation. This is a cosmic, we're having a conversation every week.
Yep. That's it. We're joining. We want you to join.
And share it with your friends. The more, the merrier.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yep. So we're leaving this up on Facebook for those of you who are are on the Energized Living Today site. Oh, and you guys forgot to say that we have a private group now. Yeah,
that's right.
Soul View, and that is posted on the Energized Living Today page, and that way you'll be able to get to it. We're going to leave the videos up there on the Energized Living Today page for only 3 days, and then we're going to send them over to YouTube. So if you didn't catch it, then go on over to our YouTube channel and you will be able to find them in their entirety. So any final thoughts, ladies?
Just this opportunity that we're all having to be true to ourselves, which then helps us be truer to others. I mean, I'm quoting Shakespeare, obviously, paraphrasing, but that's really what's up now. You know, the truer you are to yourself, the truer you can be to anyone in your life.
Mm-hmm. And yes, be discerning. Don't be gullible. Take a moment, take a breath, really looking, you know, is that true for you? Whatever you're reading or seeing.
Mm-hmm. And ask yourself, do I need this to be true, and why? Yeah. And I have found myself, since we've been talking about this, I have found myself doing that very thing. Do I need this to be true? And what is it? You know, what's the reason for it? So I just want to say to everybody, you know, just be discerning. Be true to yourself. And that way, fake news becomes a non-issue. That's from a soul point of view.
Because you decide what's real for you.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. So
you're the creator of your own experience.
Yep.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So much love to all of you. I thank you again, ladies. This has been fun. I love doing this. This is so great.
You can't lose if joy is the compass, guys or ladies, you know? I mean, it's all heart energy.
Yep. So until next time, everyone, much love to you and namaste.
Blessings, blessings.